Hello and welcome to another episode from the Department of Deportation. Today we're going to be taking a look at Lake Worth Beach and the City Commission meeting that happened this week, and the fact that the City Commission has basically decided to completely ignore and no longer pursue the mayor's anti-ICE, FHP, and anti-immigration enforcement letter that she proposed a couple weeks ago. And they're blaming the fact that the local NGO, the Guatemala Maya Center, and the woke commissioners that neither of them provided any details on these supposed horrible incidents that were happening in our area. Don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe to our channel. So like my last couple videos, I'm going to be just playing the clips from the meeting, and instead of stopping and talking about it, I'm going to post some memes and my commentary.
Thank you, Mayor. For item I, the condition of discussing the letter drafted by you was to substantiate the allegations of wrongdoing by law enforcement that you presented in that letter. Earlier today, you sent us an email indicating that these could not be substantiated. And I'm wondering, are you still asking for a discussion on this tonight's agenda in light that you were not able to substantiate this?
I understand your statement, and I was sorely disappointed at the response that I got from the Guatemalan Center when I asked for information to verify them. And I did share that letter with folks today. As you guys have said, one of the things you were looking for me to produce was that sort of verification. I'm unable to do that. I've also reached out to a couple of other agencies. We have a response from the sheriff's office. I've shared that as well. And I can read into the record what the response is about that. I understand what you're saying, but I know there's a lot of people here that want to speak about that, but without verification, my understanding is that this letter is going nowhere. Okay. And am I correct in that assumption?
No, you're not correct.
Okay, well, I'm asking for everybody without verification.
I would like some data or support from the organizations that we're doing this in partnership with.
Did you see the letter that I shared?
Yes, and we got nothing.
Nothing. Right.
So that to me is
and also we don't really need your help. Was the other part of that letter. Pretty much stay out of it. So I understand. And so Mr. McVoy, I think, is going to talk about the same topic. So Mr. McVoy?
Yes, I would like to make a motion that we move item I. I'd like to make a motion that Commissioner McVoy speaks into the microphone on all occasions. I would like to make a motion and ask for support from my colleagues that we move item I to right after, I would say, the consent agenda, because we do have a lot of people who are interested in this issue, very concerned about it. I would like to clarify a couple of things. My recollection of the discussion on December 16th was not that we were going to consider taking some sort of stance, taking some sort of action only because we suspected wrongdoing, but a much broader humanitarian concern for what is happening to a substantial quantity of our residents. I did see the letter that the correspondence back and forth between the director of the Guatemala Maya Center, Mariana Branco, and the mayor. And I think a little bit of, perhaps there are differing interpretations. I did not find at all that there was a feeling of we don't need your help. There is very much a feeling that the community does need the help and wants action from the commission. That what was expressed in the letter, the reason that you didn't receive a list of names of who all's been deported, is that that is a very sensitive situation at this point. If we start circulating names of people who've been involved with ICE, that puts people and families at jeopardy. The Guatemalan Maya Center is experienced enough dealing with this that they in no way will do that. They are more than happy to find some way of providing statistics. It's been more than 100 people, almost 200, who've been exported. Of that, about 100 of them have no criminal charges. They do have information, but they're very careful about not putting anybody in jeopardy. I've spoken with members of the press who have told me the same thing. Yes, we want to get information out, but we're very conscious of not wanting to make anybody's situation even worse. If everything was running with full due process and full access to attorneys and only people with serious criminal background, no, there wouldn't be any worry. But that isn't the situation. U.S. citizens are being stopped at this point. People with green card, people with other legal status. So of course the center will be cautious about what they're able to share and what it is wise to share. So I would like support for my motion that this is a timely and appropriate topic. We started a discussion on it, for which I'm very grateful both to Commissioner May and to the mayor for having picked up the baton and started us thinking about it and how we can respond. Yes, I totally agree with the need for more data. Let's ask that formally. Let's ask for that data, not from the Guatemala Maya Center necessarily. Don't put the burden on them. It should be on the agencies that are doing the activities.
Okay.
So I'd like a motion to, I'd like support for a motion to move that item. I would suggest after the consent agenda, if you have a different location, but earlier on in the meeting to accommodate a lot of public interest in it and repeated public interest. Thank you for your support.
Thank you. For the record, just so I want to make it clear, so there's no confusion. We had a meeting on December 16th. On December 18th, I wrote to Ms. Blanco, who I work with on another committee, and asked her for some information. I was not specific about the information, what I was looking for, but I asked her to provide, bless you, I was asked to provide some verification to back up what I had put in that letter. That was on December 18th. I heard nothing from Ms. Blanco. Not, I got your email. I'm sorry we can't help you. Not, thanks for helping. Yesterday, I got an email from her. Dear Betty, and people need to know what was said. Thank you again for your initiative in working on this. Though my impression was that the letter that you shared with the commission was not strong enough, nor did it have a clear asking what the city is requesting. With that said, there is no way to provide confirmation of these stories to the commission without providing personal information, which our families are fearful to share due to the lack of support they have received from our city government. However, we are working very closely with ProPublica, and they will be publishing extensive data verified through government sites in the next few weeks about the detentions in Palm Beach County and Florida in 2025. The larger data set will reflect the stories we have been sharing. Additionally, we worked with the Miami Herald on this article, which provides some data, but is more limited than will be published by ProPublica. Yours in solidarity. To begin with, I think it would have been professional and courteous for her to at least acknowledge my email, not the day before the meeting, and to reach out and you know, I'm sorry, Ms. Blanca, and I do have respect for you, but I'm sorry that the city is not doing enough. I think perhaps that the expectations of some people are unrealistic in the power that we have, and apparently the Guatemala Center does not need our help. And I was unable to verify it. And my understanding was without verification, it goes no further. Am I correct in that, Ms. Malaga? Yeah, I know, Mr. McFoy, you disagree. So I know you have a motion up there. Is there a second for Mr. McFoy's motion? Calling again for a second. Having heard none, the motion fails. Now let's address Mr. Segrich's request. I cannot bring, what I did get was the response from the sheriff's office about their involvement with ICE. I thank you, Captain Karn, for getting that for us. But in terms of, I cannot bring any verification. You know, we all know bad things are happening, but without verification, I understand, puts us in, you know, let's say we say something happened and in fact, following up, we find that that particular thing had not happened. That puts us in a very bad position. So Ms. Malega?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. While I did not support Mr. McBoy's motion to move it, because we also have staff and other people who are in the room, and I just don't feel that that's,
right.
I'm not saying I don't want to discuss it. I wasn't part of the conversation on the 16th. Unfortunately, I wasn't here. I do think it's a conversation that needs to be had. I don't know, reviewing the information that Captain Karn sent us all today, there was some alarming stuff on there, but it was statewide. This wasn't just
Right.
Palm Beach County. And from what I read, the real people who need to be held accountable are Florida Highway Patrol. And I mean, I'm not opposed to picking up the phone and calling the head of that department because I know him personally. We've done work prior to him having that seat. And I think that there's things that we can do.
I reached out to him and he said he would call me the next day and he did not.
Okay. So I just think that there's I do want to have a conversation. I just didn't want to move it because, like I said, there's other people here for other conversations, and that's the agenda that was published, and out of due respect for everybody else's time. But I do want to have the conversation. Like I said, I wasn't here on the 16th. I would like more data. I'm sad that the number one non-for-profit who represents the community doesn't want to stand with us on this. That's disheartening. But maybe we can get with the embassy and see if the embassy can help us get data. They're not that far from here. I think it's a conversation we need to have for our community, the community as a whole, not just one particular community, but I have as many people who look like me who are as upset about what's happening in our city as people who don't look like me. And I think it's a citywide, worldwide, countywide, countrywide issue. So I would like to have the conversation. I don't want to take it off the agenda.
And I'm sorry that you weren't here on the 16th because we did have quite a good conversation. So
no, I listened to the meeting. I just wasn't here as part of the conversation.
I don't think we have votes to take it off. Okay, so we'll leave it where it is. Okay, Mr. McFoy, you've spoken. I think we're going to move on. So other than that, are there any additions? And there are no additions, deletions, or reordering.
Could we reorder it?
Mr. McFoy, you've asked and you had no support for it. It was my agenda.
I would just like to point out
Mr.
for the
McFoy.
public's benefit that it is the last item on the agenda, and this would not be the first meeting where we run the meeting out and it falls off the end.
You are out of line.
Well,
I am simply stating facts that have happened before. So,
Madam Mayor,
What?
This is a lot of business that we can probably get through quickly if we stop the side chatter, and I think we can get to this item in a timely fashion.
As you see there, they're the only ones who get to talk about it, and they try and shut down Chris McVoy from pointing out that items on the end of the meeting pretty much always get skipped. Let's see what happens at the end of the meeting.
It's 10:55. Can we start a new issue?
We cannot,
That's what I thought.
but you can still do your commission liaison report, city manager's report, etc.
Okay.
I thought we could, wait. I thought when we redid the rules, if there was an issue that we could override that rule, or do we change that to the last thing that we're talking about? We couldn't pick up another issue at 10:45.
I think that's it.
So we cannot pick up another issue after 10:45, and that rule is not waivable.
Thank you.
Thank you.
which is what I said at the beginning of the meeting.
All of us didn't speak so long. We'd have a little more time.
Yeah, how convenient to put it at the end of the meeting. Very convenient.
Mr. McBoy, if everyone was self-edited a little bit, we'd have a little more time. Okay, commission liaison reports and comments. Let's start with District 1.
I wish that we could have had the discussion in regards to ICE and FHP. That's the only comment I have.
Right. District 2.
It's fascinating to me what we choose to put our time into and what we decide is important. Something that affects real lives, real kids, real families, and probably a quarter of our population. We decide is not important enough to move up on an agenda. We put it at the last of the agenda, knowing full well that we won't get to.
Remember, guys, the residents, citizens, and voters can't speak about it, but the mayor's gonna.
They're it's very interesting because this is, there's people, we really can't discuss it because we're past it, but I mean, there are people that I get communications from, this is exactly what I voted for, and there's people that say this is a terrible thing. So we're stuck sort of in the middle. And hopefully we'll get to talk about it. In terms of specificity, the best I thought I could do was just, encourage them to listen. I did my best to reach out and had no luck. What else is going on?
So, once again, they're special. They shut down Commissioner McVoy, and they don't let the public speak. Well, let's take a look at the one member of the public who did actually get to speak at the meeting, and it's a nice bonus clip.
I just need to comment and make a small request that y'all take your white privilege and give it a good check, because your commentary about how dare Guatemala Maya Center didn't jump at your email in a timely fashion, when the reality is that this Christmas season was probably particularly challenging for those families. So God forbid that you weren't bumped to the front of the line because you are the city who has not provided any support. They don't owe you anything, nothing. You owe it to them to prove that you are willing to stand up and actually put your money where your mouth is before they provide you with anything. Lastly, there is something going on in the United States, some release of some files. It's very important. We all know who I'm talking about. How about this? Just like those very same files would be a non-issue if we just believed the victims. Believe what people are saying. We are not making this stuff up because we have nothing better to do, which is also why we are here protesting, to protect our community, not because we don't have anything better to do on a Tuesday night.
Oh, is this letter permanently dead? Who actually knows? What I do know is that it was hilarious to see it get squashed and to watch 4 out of 5 members of the commission suddenly not want to see it talked about. Well, that does it for this episode. Don't forget to like and share the video, give our channel a follow, and visit Etsy for any of our merch that you saw.